All right, and now we're going to talk about the vaccinations not only your kids should get, but maybe you should get as well as the school year begins. NBC 15 is your back to school station, and joining us this morning is Alina Podelwitz with Walgreens to talk about some of the specific vaccinations that kids should get and also new recommendations. First, we want to mention that all of the vaccinations you'll be seeing, most of them, if not all, are offered at Walgreens. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Now, first and foremost, when we show the first list, for example, of the 4 to 6-year-old kids, these are the beginning of the series of shots that they'll be getting through several years, correct?
Correct. Yep. And it actually does start previous to that, from birth. They start getting some of these vaccinations too.
Yeah, because you can also get the flu shot. I think it's after 6 months
Correct.
old, my doctor had said. So taking a look at the list of 4 to 6-year-olds, here are the recommended, and some of them are state required
Correct.
shots you need to get. Measles, mumps, rubella, chickenpox, and diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis, which is for whooping cough, and polio. And then taking a look at the next grouping that you have for us, 11 to 13 years old. Now, when we're talking about a booster for diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis, what is that? What's a booster?
And that is a relatively newer thing that's happening. That was not required or recommended up until a few years back. However, as children were getting older and adults were getting older, people were contracting whooping cough. So they decided it was a good idea. They tested people and their antibodies were not high enough in the body.
Okay.
So then they decided it was a good idea to get a booster shot for that. And that's a one-time booster. Recommended at that age, but anyone can get it, including adults, if they've never had that vaccine booster
Very
before.
smart. Also a new recommendation, the meningococcal for meningitis.
Yes, and that's the one that we hear a lot about in college dorms and people living in close quarters, where the symptoms are the flu or fever, cold-like symptoms, and stiff neck. That can lead. That's a pretty dangerous one. So that's a good one to get, especially at that age is a good time, or if you haven't gotten it at that age, you can get it later in life as an adult.
Good point. And then also, this is considered for boys and girls to get the vaccination for HPV that is now available right there for 11 to 13-year-olds. Again, that's controversial. That is really up to the family.
Correct. That one's not required by the schools in any way, but it is something that is considered, it's passed through sexual contact, so that makes it a little controversial to be giving it to younger children like that. However, it does prevent or help prevent a certain cancer in young girls, and it can be passed on through the boys too.
And then finally, for high school, we see another booster shot for meningitis.
Correct. Yeah, to get full immunity, you do want to make sure you are getting the boosters for everything. That's why they're recommended. So.
And then you had mentioned too that for parents, we should also consider getting our own shot for tetanus that's now wrapped in with whooping cough so that we don't pass it on to our young kids.
Correct. Infants, anyone in contact with close infants, whether it be parents or grandparents or siblings, should make sure they are up to date on their whooping cough or pertussis, which is the same as pertussis vaccine, just to make sure they don't carry the disease. A lot of times they carry the disease and don't have any symptoms of it, and they'll pass it on to their child without knowing it. And it's most dangerous for children under 1 year who haven't been fully immunized against it.
And again, let's not forget the flu shot, which you can give after 6 months old
every
and
year.
up. And again, we gave you a lot of information. I mean, these are shots. Some of them are a series that will carry on from, we showed you the board of 4 to 6-year-olds, will carry on through the years. And there's also websites. The health department, CDC, has websites, and you can always ask your friends at Walgreens. At Alina Podelwitz, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time breaking this down because it can be overwhelming.
It can be, yep.
It's a long list. Thanks again.
Thank you.
All right.